What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about Britain's new census results. Stuff like this is extremely interesting to me. I think this is going to give me a really good idea about modern Britain. These are up-to-date census results, according to this title, about ethnicity, religion, identity, probably populations, and how they've been changing, how it compares to like years prior. Should be fairly interesting stuff. And as an American, I really have no idea what the sort of population distribution is like in Britain. So that should be interesting as well. So let's take a look.
Here in the UK, every 10 years we conduct a census. This tradition dates back to the infamous Domesday Book, which was
Every 10 years? Gosh, how often do we do it in the United States? Oh well, this isn't about the United States. This is about Britain. Every 10 years, goodness.
conduct a census. This tradition dates back to the infamous Domesday Book, which was commissioned in 1086 by William the Conqueror in order to record the annual value of property. This was to try and estimate taxation rates. Although a number of different censuses took place in the years since, it wasn't until the Census Act was passed in 1800 that a regular national census started taking place every 10 years.
That's actually, like, amazing to me. That's cool. 1800, all the way back in 1800, people already had the wherewithal, the thought to be like, we should do a census. And they've been doing it every 10 years for 200 years. That's amazing.
Starting in 1801, a census has taken place every 10 years, with the only exception being 1941. We'll leave you clever people to figure out why this may not have taken place. Anyway, the maths geniuses amongst you may have noticed that last year,
Hold on. I can't. 1941. I don't know my history very well. 1941 Britain? Events? Number one result is Plymouth bombing of Plymouth. 1941 Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor. Okay. So it was a world war. That makes sense.
place. Anyway, the maths geniuses amongst you may have noticed that last year, 2021, was a census year. As it takes a little time for the Office for National Statistics to compile the data from it, they're releasing the data in batches. However, the first batch was released this week, and it's, well, pretty interesting. So let's have a look through it.
This stuff is extremely, extremely interesting. This is probably one of the best, most interesting things that, like, we do. I didn't know we'd been doing it for, at least Britain's been doing it for 200 years.
The first batch of data has three important sections: ethnic group, national identity, language and religion, demography and migration, and UK Armed Forces veterans. In a classic TLDR style, we're going to break this video down into three sections, going through each of them in turn.
Okay.
Let's start by going through the most talked about part of the data so far, the data on ethnic groups, national identity, language and religion.
Oh, okay. Most talked about. Very, what is this, controversial or something? It's just data.
On national identity, fewer people say that they identified as being from a UK national identity than they did in 2011, the time of the last census. This is down roughly 2%. The big finding here is that those who identified as English has dropped by a gargantuan 42 percentage points.
What? Wait. I'm not sure I even understand this. The number of people identifying as one UK national identity. Okay, I think I understand that, but the number identifying as only English, so much more people are identifying as from more than one nationality, not just English.
Identified as English has dropped by a gargantuan 42 percentage points, from 57.7% in 2011 to a mere 14.9% in 2021.
Wow.
Now, the ONS has pointed out that a big part of this change can be explained by the fact that British was put as the first possible option, so we can only take a limited amount from this statistic.
Oh, wow. They kind of botched that question then, didn't they? So one of the possible answers was British, and it was the first one. So a lot of people probably chose that answer and didn't even look further down on the list of possibilities. Okay, this is kind of like not even statistically relevant.
There's also been a big shift in non-UK nationalities. Romanian, for example, has...
Oh wait, what was that question? Hold on, what was that question?
There's also been a big shift in non-UK nationalities.
How would you describe your national identity? Oh, okay, this is the same question. Yeah, British is at the top. Oh, there's an increase of people saying other?
Romanian, for example, has jumped from the 15th national identity in 2011 to 2nd in 2021. And
Oh.
Spanish has jumped from 16th to 8th.
Okay.
Irish has moved down from 2nd to 4th. There were also some big shifts in relation to ethnicity too. The number of people who identified themselves as a high-level category of white decreased from 86% to 81.7%.
Okay.
Now, we should say here that this statistic has been misinterpreted by some of the more reactionary right-wing commentators online,
Oh boy.
who've claimed that certain British cities, including London, are now minority white. London is...
Okay, now I'm starting to understand some of the, I don't know if it's a controversy, but whenever census data like this comes out, there is different ways with any data to spin it, I guess.
is indeed 37% white British. However, it's not minority white. London is 53% white. In fact, the
White British. White. I'm not sure I understand the difference.
ONS even note themselves that the largest percentage point increase was seen in the number of people identifying through the white, other white category. There were also some pretty big changes in the numbers of other ethnicities. The other largest change was in, well, the other ethnic group category, with this rising from 0.6% to 1.6%.
That's like a 3 times increase.
Another big rise was in the number of people identifying as African. This went up from 1.8% in 2011 to 2.5% last year. Anyway, another well-reported finding from the census was the change in religion. The big finding here was that for the first time ever in a census, less than half the population described themselves as Christian, in what is...
Oh, wow, this is interesting. Pretty significant decrease, although this is only taken once every 10 years. A lot of this stuff changes a lot, but it is, I'm surprised the census is only taken once every 10 years. That's such a long time.
There's been a 13.1% decrease in only 10 years. The UK is now a minority Christian country.
Okay.
There was a huge 12-point decrease in those who say that they do not follow any religion. A 1.6% increase was seen in those identifying as Muslim, alongside a 0.2% increase in those who identify as Hindu. Clearly, this demonstrates that the UK is swiftly becoming a more diverse country.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what can we actually take away from this? Basically, lots of categories drastically changing and increasing the diversity.
And that Christianity is swiftly losing its dominance. Anyway, there are some more signs that Britain's becoming more diverse when we look at the second section of the ONS data release on demography.
Okay.
Anyway, let's start this section, though, by looking at the basic changes in things like population and households.
Cool.
The ONS found that, in 2021, the population of England and Wales was about 59.6 million, which...
Is that how that's usually counted? Why is England and Wales lumped together as far as population goes? Is that normal?
Which is the largest population ever recorded. This was a growth of 3.5 million, or about 6.3%, since the last census back in 2011.
Okay.
Corresponding to this, there were about 1.4 million more households since 2011 too, which was a 6.1% increase. Sticking on the topic of households, there were some developments here too, notably in terms of deprivation. In essence, the ONS categorises deprivation as at least one member of a household meeting one of 4 criteria.
Deprived households. Yeah, I'm glad he's explaining this, because I don't think I know what this means.
Being unemployed, having few GCSEs, having bad health, or living in overcrowded accommodation.
Okay.
The census revealed that 51.7% of households in England and Wales were deprived. Although this sounds ridiculously high, this is actually down from 2011, when 57.6% of households were deprived.
Oh my gosh. 1/2 of all households. Yeah, I was going to say that sounds bad, but apparently it's a improvement from the last 10 years.
The most deprived area of England and Wales is the northeast, and the least deprived is the southeast. The census results then move on to discuss marriage status. One of the big changes with this is that in 2014, gay marriage became legal in the UK, and opposite-sex civil partnerships became legal in 2019. The largest group in the most recent census is still people in a marriage or civil partnership, and while this has increased numerically since 2011, from 21.3 million to 21.7 million, this is decreased as a percentage of the population from 46.8% to 44.6%.
Interesting. As a percentage of the population, it has gone down of number of people married or in civil partnerships.
As we mentioned, this is the first census in which we can observe how many homosexual marriages have taken place. There are currently 134,000 individuals in this kind of marriage, which makes up only 0.6% of individuals in marriages.
Okay.
There are additionally 67,000 homosexuals in civil partnerships still. So that was some of the more interesting points from the demography of England and Wales from the census. So let's move on to the last part of the ONS data, the changes in those who have worked for the armed forces. There are currently 1.85 million people who reported that they had previously worked for the armed forces who live in the UK. And the local authorities with the highest proportion of veterans were Gosport, North Kesteven and Richmondshire in England, and Conwy in Wales. However, there
a bunch of places that I don't know.
just wasn't that much data released by the ONS on veterans, but we have run you through the more interesting bits. If you want to read anything more about this section, or any other section of the census data released so far, we've linked it in the description. Anyway, in conclusion, the census data released so far demonstrates that Britain is a country that is changing very quickly.
Yeah.
The population is getting larger, and with this, groups that were previously dominant are shrinking. Britain is becoming more multicultural, with smaller ethnicities, nationalities and religions growing in size.
Right.
We'll have to wait until 2031, though, to see whether this trend continues.
Now, what you want me to tell you here is that everyone knows what they're doing and is making rational decisions. But unfortunately, that's not always the case when it comes to politics. But it can be in your life if you sign up to Brilliant.
Okay. I was like, what is this? This is an ad for Brilliant. Okay, I can't blame them. Okay, that's it. That's the end. Fascinating. This was by TLDR News. I liked this. I would imagine many of these trends are similar in the United States. Population slightly increasing, although you hear reports now about population stagnating or even starting to go down, but I guess we'll see with the next census. And just an overall increase in diversity. Diversity of all sorts of things, like ethnicities, religion, even the kinds of marriages. Everything is just like increasing in the amount of diversity, which is nice. It's probably a good trend. And I think that's similar in the United States. Although now I feel like I have to take a look at the United States Census, at least the most recent one, and do a bit of a comparison. But I can safely say, in a general sense, that this sounds pretty similar. And I don't know if there's anything here that actually shocked me. Anything that shocked me? Oh, the deprived households thing. One half of households being deprived households. Sounds somewhat concerning. I don't know. I'm only now learning about it for the first time. Right, the reactions. Okay, any interesting comments? Let's check out the comments. Major changes. British identity, whiteness going down, Christianity going down, population increase, irreligiousness. So non-religiousness increasing, right? Households up, deprived households down, thank goodness. Marriages, overall marriages down, that's right. That's an interesting one, isn't it? Just to point out, this is a census for England and Wales. It's not Britain or the UK. Oh, that is a really good point. I'm glad this guy pointed that out. The Scottish census was not taken until March 2022, and the results won't be released until 2023. That's really significant. I'm glad I know that. Better context. So that's why it was England and Wales. In that one stat, they actually wrote that out, and I was like, what is that? Okay, very good, very good. Okay. Let me see here. Anything else interesting? Extremely disappointed that unlike 2001, not enough people answered that their religion was Jedi. Yes, yes indeed. Okay, this was interesting. This was very interesting. I'm glad to have gotten to listen and enjoy this little video here, because I don't think I've ever seen a census report from anywhere outside the United States. So this was good. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or leave a comment. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain, British culture, things in Britain that I've never seen or heard before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.